let's see here.
Portland 10, was that?
Yeah, Portland 10. I did a course in Portland 10. I think that was an excellent. It really helped me refine and cull out a bunch of stuff that I thought was part of business and was not necessarily part of business. It made me focus a lot more. Coming from a technology standpoint, I did have this. It's sort of it's the tragic flaw of perhaps a technologist, which is that you feel that perhaps every feature more will be that golden arrow that solves your problem, and rarely is. And it taught me to really focus on really, if we want to sustain ourselves, where the revenues are and where to focus in order to bring in the revenues. So that's helped a lot. I think really having a partner after a long time of being partnerless has probably been the largest help in terms of like weekly meetings, getting processes in place, divvying up duties, figuring out the direction and what has failed. It's so much easier to do when you're working with someone else, I think. What else has helped? I do a ton of looking at other startups. Really helps a lot. I tend to look since we're a hosted web application, I look at a lot of my favorite companies. FreshBooks and Zendesk are two companies I go back to really regularly. I feel like they're sort of second generation from the 37 Signals products, and I feel like and I watch them change over time as well, and I think that's been extremely helpful in trying to help us figure out how to evolve to meet the customers, where the customers are. So.
Yeah, I think Ben got it right. We found any number of really useful online tools that are great for startups, and I think that's something that's evolved over the last 10 years to where there's really quite a range of great tools to support the company administratively that we don't have to create on our own or rely on spreadsheets and things like that.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. David's mentioning that we actually use most of those products. I was mentioning that we admire them and then look to them for guidance, but it's true. Like FreshBooks and Zendesk and Dropbox and so many of these other tools, I'm not sure we could function nearly as well as a startup without relying on all these other integrated systems, which is really helpful in this age. So. Well, we're entirely bootstrapped, and it's in the short term. It looks like we're going to continue to be bootstrapped. We're not seeking venture capital currently. We've bounced around that idea a lot. So growing pains is definitely an issue, as we have beginning to be on the edge of paying ourselves real salaries, but not there quite yet, and trying to figure out how we can scale to handle some of the needs that we do. David mentioned the project management needs, and the client manager sort of stuff to sort of inspire and organize our accounts and our clients. So I think that's a big concern right now. In terms of the actual business, I feel extremely hopeful about 2011. I think this has been this last few months, especially in all of this year, has been a dramatic transition for the business, and 2011 feels really big at this juncture, which is great. So, yeah, did I answer the question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ben hit it pretty well. Again, it's just deciding on a daily basis to keep turning on, and you see that. We're encouraged as we see, revenue growth happen and understand that if we get the right model, we're going to have that hockey stick growth that really takes us to the next level. And we can I think within the last few months, we've really started seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, that there's that we have a viable program in place, the way we're approaching customers, the message we're giving to customers is resonating now, and we're starting to see that light. So it's great.
Mm-hmm. A loathing for working for other people? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I've always had a leaning toward working my own businesses, and I think it's this is a tricky thing. It's really difficult to figure out when to quit, and I think there were certainly excellent exit points for me through time here, but when you've already built this much, and then you start to feel it begin to happen, it's really hard to quit. And so I think we both juggle other kinds of schedules in order to make this continue to go and continue to work.
Yeah, and for me too, I think we're in an area, an industry where there's a lot of need, so we can definitely feel good about what we do at the end of the day, and knowing that the whole chronic disease issue in the country, obesity, the country is facing some serious challenges there, and to know that we can have some small part in helping mitigate that is really valuable too. So aside from the growing the company, the revenue side, it's a feel good thing from that standpoint as well.
You want to take that one first?
Yeah, well, I think we have, I think there's one competitor in particular that's actually an Australian company we've seen grown in 5 years from 0 to 8 figures, and so we look at that as a definite not only validation of our market, but a way to maybe emulate some of the things they've done in a positive sense, but also add some of the things that we think we do better. So we look at that as definite positive feedback for us, and a reason to keep going.
Inspiration is a sort of big and wide-ranging question. I think David's absolutely right in terms of inspires us into trying to figure out where we're going to go and where we want to be next year and what we want to be making next year. I think some of those competitors are excellent inspirations. I don't know. I also think it's for inspiration. Like I continue to keep my father's voice in my head as someone who went out and made his own way in the world with his own businesses numerous times. I think that kind of inspiration as well. And he did very well, but certainly I would hope to take the lessons that he learned the hard way as inspiration too.